Okay, we will reconvene. It is 8:05 p.m. If you will, we are back in session. We have gotten through the Utility Public Works Administration, and we are now to the utility service, and I want to just do this all at once. Utility service, utility service electric, utility service gas, utility service water, utility service sewer, public works, streets and parks. I'll stop right there. They're all the pool of money that was set aside on page 12. You will see the amount that is set aside for each area and how many employees are there. If we give the department head the same instruction to go and evaluate their employees, review their files and their work performance, get with the city manager and come up with a decision, give the dollars to Mr. Bloom. Does that work for everybody? Is there anybody in that group that you want to discuss? There's no money here. It's all, if you look at them, they're all pooled, except for utility electric. Utility electric does have salaries, and I have check marks on every one of them.
No problem. Here.
Okay, so we turn in the page. You need to look at it just another second.
No problem with the airport.
Okay, well, on page 10, the airport is there. You see the salaries that are listed there. The raises are indicated, no pull on them. I'm okay with that group. If you are, we have made it through this section. Praise the Lord. And like Mr. Bloom said, we spent a lot of time on the staffing plan, but it's the hardest part. Mainly because it's in public, I hate it. The next section is the property tax tab. It discusses the millage. I don't think we need to do anything with that tonight.
No changes?
No changes. We're good with that. All right, you move to the general fund tab. Just, if you will, leaf through it real quick and see if there's anything. It's strictly the summary there. The summary then goes into each individual fund, starting with the city council, the city manager. Again, the city council is the same. The city manager is the same based on what our evaluation will be at the time we decide to do it. We'll have to do a budget amendment for him. The city clerk is there. The one thing I did see is in legal services, we have not added the request from the attorney's firm.
Yes.
Would you like to discuss that?
Yes, I would. I'd like to first lead off, and then I'll yield the floor back to the city council. And but I'll let you know that there's I don't know if it's the background that where I came from or just maybe how I'm wired, but when I asked for a decision from the city attorney, I like to have one that's based on a lot of investigations, a lot of looking into it, a lot of thought process. I will tell you that if I personally ask them to look into something that we're doing, I will specifically ask them not just a yes or no question. I'll ask them, where is the bright line in the law, which tells me basically, what does the law say? And then I'm looking for whatever court rulings and how case law affects it, not in a criminal way, but in the way it affects municipalities. And then I'm asking for an attorney general's opinion to be looked at also. So it's a lot more, I'm asking a lot more to be done when I ask a question than what normally occurs than maybe was done before that I'm not aware of. So, and I'll be honest with you, it was an assumption on my part that I absolutely got wrong, is that, even though we had the retainer fee that you paid up to the 10 hours, and then if there was something that went over on top of that wasn't something that we told them to look at, there were some additional fees for that, but I was mistaken. That does not occur. Mr. Walker has requested to speak to us tonight about an increase in the retainer fee. Keep in mind, like I said, there is a lot that the city staff does with our law firm, and when I make a request, there is a ton of work that must be done to give me back the right answer to make the right decision, which is probably more than anybody else has maybe ever asked of a city attorney. I'm not sure. And I'll yield the floor.
Madam President, we do track our monthly billing rates. We send that into finance, and then we zero that out every month, and then we're under our contract. On a monthly basis, we're several $1,000s over what the work is over what we're being paid
On the
for.
hourly rate,
On the hourly
if it
rate.
had been an hourly rate,
That's,
yes.
that's exactly
Gotcha.
right. And that was the deal we make,
Right.
and what we made, and we live by that, and we agree with that, because what that does for our law firm, it gives us a set amount every year that we can budget,
Right,
but it also does that for the city. It gives you a set amount. So if you're strictly on hourly, it goes up and down, and you have a hard time really budgeting. At this stage for Terry and Finance, what they're doing is it's really hard to budget what the next year is going to be. The other problem in the legal sense of it is if you get sued, then things can go haywire. And I think what our objective is to stay within the budget and stay within the retainer on a monthly basis, and we've been successful with that. The other very gratifying piece of it is, in talking to Terry, okay, what's our performance? What's our job performance? And principally, that's Kirsten. And his response to me was, she's doing A+ work.
Yeah.
And so that's very good to hear as the manager of our law firm. So what we're asking for is to go to $5,000 a month on our retainer-based contract. We intend to keep doing what it is that we do, stay within that budget, hopefully not go outside on litigation. You never know if somebody's going to be a sue bug and sue you.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't happen,
Right.
but our job is to try to keep within that and keep us in the bounds of not going there. And based upon what Terry and I talked about, if you looked at our normal 3% increase that we would get under the contract, we'd be at $3,938 for the fiscal year, this coming fiscal year. So if we increase to $5,000, that would be a $1,061.41 increase over what we're normally doing. We're still a couple of $1,000s under if we're looking at an
Right.
hourly rate. So that's our request,
Yep.
Madam President.
okay. And I did know that. I have read your request, and I think it's very well warranted. We do appreciate the service, both from your office and from Kirsten. She's doing a great job. We just needed to let Mr. Bloom know that he needs to increase the amount that's in this budget.
I don't agree.
You don't
I
agree with
don't
what?
agree right now, because that would be changing the conditions of the contract, and that's something that needs to be brought to the council when we can vote on that as far as that increase, because that is a change in the contract.
We can put it in the next
We can put
budget.
it with- And that's fine.
and
Don't
the
have a
next
problem with that.
Council meeting for approval,
But just
because we
to say-
cannot vote
But
tonight.
just to say, to go ahead and add that right now without bringing this information to the council and getting a vote on that from the council, I don't think that we can do that right now.
And I have no problem with that concept.
We can obviously bring it, but I think we need to give him direction to do it.
And I think,
And if we change it, he can take it back out.
with the 3% increase this year, that puts you up to 49 and some change.
No, 39.81.
39
A month.
and some change. A month, correct.
Okay, yeah, but I'm talking annually.
Oh, annually, okay. So
Annually,
39
it
times
would be
12.
$47,263.08.
Okay, I thought that was more around 49, but, I mean, if you wanted, you do
Yeah.
that, that's fine, but.
We'll ask Ms. Latricia to put it on the next agenda so that we can consider it. We can actually see the letter that was sent by Ms. Walker, Bowles Walker, so that we can look at it.
Has all the
it gives-
council seen that information?
Probably not. I think it came with the, well, actually, I think I received the email when it came. I think I was on it as the president.
You seen it?
I just said I was the only one who saw it, and the city manager.
I saw it.
Okay, but you must, did you
But
ask, did
it
you
just-
ask for it, or?
But the contract, it just needs to be changed here. It needs
And I
to be
looked
voted
at the contract, it does not have, it was not like a 3-year contract, a 4-year
on. It's
contract.
open-ended.
It was open-ended, so there was no, and that's what I was looking for. If it had been a 3-year or a 4-year, we would have stuck with the 3%. But he gave us volumes of information that showed how much each month they have an overrun. And I think $5,000 is very reasonable
It's not that I disagree.
as an increase. So yes, we will put that entire letter and that backup in our next packet so we can consider it as a group.
Okay.
But I don't want that not to be in the budget if that's something that needs to be here. That's why I brought it up. So, and I obviously can't talk to y'all about it outside of a meeting because it's against the sunshine for me to do that. So that's why we're talking about it now. Anybody else? Mr. Walker, you got something else to add? Nope. Anything else?
No, but thank you for the consideration.
Yes, sir, we'll put it on the next agenda. I think Ms. Latricia still has time to do that.
And I'm sorry, did you want me to change the budget or we're waiting? It's,
Either way, it's going to be before, we'll have another meeting before our next budget hearing. So
I left.
just make a note that we might need
I
to
left
change
some
it.
money in contingency for it.
There you
So,
go. That's all, but I just want to make sure that if it is approved, that it doesn't
there'll
get
be-
left out,
right, yeah.
so we don't have a budget overrun. Okay, so I'm moving to the next page. All of this is pretty much what we've already looked at. This is the administration, the entire budget, not just the salaries, for the administration. And as you see the administration, you see who those people are. It is the administrative assistant, the accounts manager, the accounts payable specialist, and what percentage of their salaries are in, well, not what percentage, that's not this one. It's how it's in, the trend has been over the last couple of years. I'm going to just flip pages. If y'all want to stop somewhere, please let me know. The next one is HR. We've talked about that one already. The next one is purchasing. Next one is planning and zoning. And building permits. Stop me if you got any questions. Animal control and code enforcement. Page 29 is the animal shelter.
Yeah, on the animal shelter, you said that we're not gonna have an assistant or something, is that?
The
Correct.
shelter, the kennel tech or the shelter?
Yeah, or,
So, what we have decided, let me go back to the staffing
We're
plan.
on page 20. We're on page
Yes, sir.
29, and it has the dollar amounts there too.
We have hired a kennel technician. So we
Okay.
still have animal control and Wayne. And then we have a kennel technician that works part-time, up
okay,
to 32 hours. We have an open position for a shelter attendant, which would be somebody who would just go and feed dogs and clean. But we don't need them yet. But we have that position there just in case we do.
you gonna need within the next year?
We don't know. It could blow up, or we could try and keep it steady. We're having some trouble with Levy County. They're full, but they have parvo. So we wanted to take animals from them, but we can't. But when that all clears up, we may help them out a little bit. So it's sort of a fluent type of budget right now. But we're going to keep it empty as long as possible. And we do have some volunteers that are helping us, and the airport has given us some staff to fill in when they're at the airport if we have an emergency or if they want to come over and help out with the
Okay.
dogs.
Well, I was just thinking if it was, you're not gonna do it within the next year, or we could use that 15 grand for somewhere else.
I mean, we could
had-
take it out.
The minute you take it out, you're going to need it.
If
Could
nothing
we
happens-
negotiate?
Yeah,
Could
don't-
we-
No, I'm
Yeah, just leave it
I'm just
there.
asking the question.
Well, I was just thinking, if we could keep the position there, because I don't want to lose a position. We
Right.
never want to have to do that.
Okay.
You might talk a little bit, Ms. Jones, about the person who fills in for Wayne when he's not here and how much they charge us.
From Levy County? Right, that's not the shelter, though. That's animal control, so that's a different budget.
Okay, so it is a
Yeah.
different budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay, and that's
if,
fine.
if it comes to it where we need that money, I would take the money out if I could keep the position open. Because I don't want to lose a position, because then it's really hard to get another position. But we could take the money out if it looks like we're not going to need them. But I could discuss it with the animal shelter crew this week and see how they feel and if they're going to need that.
Okay,
But like I said, that's only a $1,200 or 1,200 hour a year position. It's just a
And it could be
fill-in.
your weekend person who feeds the dogs.
Yes,
I mean, you need that person so that
it would be
the
relief.
40-hour person doesn't have to go out there and do it.
Yeah, well, we don't,
Yeah.
right now, we only have Wayne,
Wayne.
and then we have a part-timer, and this would be an
32-hour
even less
person.
of a part-timer.
Right.
So, yeah, we can talk about that.
okay, all right, so I wanted to know, thank you.
All right, we're moving to IT, which is page 30. We've made adjustments there that will reflect to the next budget. I go to page 31, I'm still seeing a deputy chief in there. I just given that to Mr. Bloom. On page 31, you see what I mean?
Yeah,
It's out in the staffing plan. It's not in the staffing plan. It's just on this page. So I don't know where the number balance is somehow. Just bringing that. I noticed that when I was looking.
But Chief, your office, all your officers are there, right? So. Yeah.
Okay? The end of the police department is on page 32. Police communications are on page 33. Again, y'all scream if you want to talk about something.
nope,
I mean, we pretty much talked it to death last time.
yep,
34 is the victim's advocacy. 35 is the fire department. And again, here, not just seeing staffing, but the entire department. Page 37 is streets and parks. .38 is recreation and athletics, library, and special events. And then it bounces over into the non-departmental, which is aid to private organizations, insurance, and the transfer to the CRA. And there's a small contingency on page 39. Moving to the airport tab. Any questions on the airport?
nope,
Moving to the CRA tab.
nope,
I am moving to the utility fund. Everybody okay over there? Questions?
nope.
Do we- Did you find them? Okay, very good. All right, so on page 50, under the utility tab, is the summary of all services. You see the capital outlay and projects on page 51 that come under that department. You see under which, if you look across the top of the page, you'll see the individual utilities so that you can tell where the different capital outlay. There's only two things showing. I assume that's a squirt truck? Is that what that? 212,000 is the squirt truck, I believe?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the 15,000 in administration, utility truck. Boy, do we need one, or two.
Technically, technically we need two, but we're trying to get one for
I
now.
started to say, is Don still walking?
Yes, ma'am.
That's, I heard it start, correct. Okay, Yeah. All right, page 52 is utility fund administration. That's where you see transfer to general fund for the shared cost of those employees that are shown here. And in the administration, you see capital outlay for utility. That's where your utility vehicle is there. If you turn to page 54 under the customer service and billing. I think we've discussed that. There a pool of cash that's going to get divvied between those four people and brought back to us. But the dollars are already there. The electric service, you see the personnel that are there and all the operating funds. On page 56, you see the transfer to the general fund and the sinking fund. I think that's the first sinking fund we've seen. And you also see a contingency at the top in the operating expenses part. All right, the next page is gas. You see all the personnel that are there. And as you turn the page, again, this is the pooled group of dollars that need to be divided. You see the transfer to the general fund there under non-operating expenses. The next page is the sewer services. And sewer collection is first. You see the salaries that are listed there and the percentages for each of them. On the next page, you see the sewer treatment and the employees and the percentages that are there. At the bottom of page 60, you see the capital outlay for the spray field. A little farther down, the transfer to the general fund and the sinking fund. Scream if you got a question. Like I said, we discussed it so much before. I think we're all pretty good with it.
About a comment?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Stephen, where it says deputy director, under some of these, it should go back to public works supervisor.
Yeah, I already made, I saw that, I made the change.
Yeah, they're all
Thank
through
you.
it, but it's divided. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, under solid waste collection, which is page 61, you see the solid waste income. This is garbage now when we talk about that. This is the garbage. You see the amount that comes in, the personnel that are helping to do I think the billing, that would be billing type people that are collecting the money so that we can turn it over to GFL. You see the professional services is what we pay GFL. So you see what's coming in, how much we pay our staff. You'll see that we've got a negative number at the bottom. So, because we didn't have a provision for a franchise fee, I don't believe. How did we do that? I did not realize that until I started looking at this budget. Somehow we did not pay ourselves to do the administration. And we did that before by a franchise fee, so they paid a percentage of the collections to us for doing the collections and doing the administration. That's just a note on my brain's behalf here. Yes, exactly. It's not in the contract. I went and looked. The next page is water. You see the revenue sources of water. You see the salaries. On the next page, you see the transfer to the general fund and a small sinking fund that is for fire hydrants. Did we do fire hydrants this year? I see we have money in there for fire hydrants, but I don't know that we did any. We did? Okay. I guess that's above my pay grade. I didn't know we spent money on fire hydrants. So that was a question I asked myself. The last page is stormwater. And it sort of looks like we've done away with stormwater. Is that the case? I mean, we had money in last year's budget. We have not spent any, and it looks like we took it out. Except for the testing. Looks like these expenses are probably the twofold testing or something that we do with that company.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And you see a small sinking fund there as well. Any questions on the utility fund for the staff or discussion amongst each other? Okay. Next one is CalLink. We're getting there. CalLink, you see at the top, the couple of grants that we got over the last couple of years. You see the residential income and the commercial income transfer to the transfer into this department from the utility fund. You see the salaries and how they're split up for not only the installation but the administration and the collection. You see that there's a small contingency. Any questions on CalLink? Okay, supplemental schedules. I don't know that we really need to do supplemental schedules, but we will. This is where, and I don't know that they changed any at all. Don't think the supplemental schedules changed any. This just shows you the things under the city manager's department on page 68. Bless you. The things under the city clerk's department on page 69. And the allocation into what fund they're paid out of. You see that at the top right on each of those pages. On page 70, it is the same. It is, and that the salary's not changed there, by the way. It didn't get down to what is actually over here in the staffing plan. It still has the 62.4 instead of the 55.
I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, on page 70. It also shows the allocation across the board who's helping pay that salary. That's the evaluation. Don't need that. The purchasing department is page 71. You see the employees that are listed there. And the next page is the IT, the information technology. The next page is the capital budget, again by fund, by department. It's also by fund. General fund, utility fund, airport, and CRA. And that's the greatest majority, as Mr. Bloom said, is the grant from for the airport in that $6 million. 5-year capital improvement plan is on the next page. Does everybody have that? They do, don't they? Or did I just? You do? Okay, good. I've got so much stuck in here, I don't know what's old and what's new. And it actually tells you every single thing here, all the things they want to do. Gets right down into the nitty-gritty on page 74 and 75. And that's all I have. Everything else I have in my book is from last time.
Probably
Yeah,
a
thank
typo,
you.
but
Yes,
on-
I'd like to do that myself.
Probably a typo, but on page 70, the percentages of the allocations for the general fund, airport fund, utility fund, the math don't add up to 100.
They do not add up to 100.
Somebody's paying a little bit more. Unless I'm looking at it wrong.
68 and 30,
It's because of the
1,
26.6 makes it a 1.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's rounding, but I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, he usually rounds up. And some of the salaries are not right on that page either. 'Cause
Yeah,
that
I
is
took
the
a note of
HR
that.
page. That's probably what did it, because it changed on the other page, but didn't change on this one. All right, speak now or forever hold your peace. We have 2 more budget hearings. They're pretty much whatever the public wants to talk about. Yes, there are 2. Miss Latricia, can you go back to that page in Stephen's presentation that shows the budget hearing dates? We have, I think September 12th is the next one, and the 26th maybe? Yeah. 12th and 26th, and
Now,
they
I
are
heard
at
him say
5:30.
5:30. We're doing that instead of the 6, moving them back to
They
the
are,
6.
these are advertised as 5:30, so they have to be at 5:30.
All right, so
They
the
are
12th
on your tax bill rate, so everybody knows to come at 5:30 if they want to talk about it.
All right, 5:30.
And again, we will go very quickly through this for our public hearings. If there's someone in the public that wants to talk about it, we will take the time to do that. Any further direction for Mr. Bloom or the city manager? They've got their marching orders on those pools of money for their employees. They're going to feed that back to Mr. Bloom. I think that's the most of what we'll see different next time.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
September 22nd?
No.
No, 22nd is just a published budget. It'll be
Okay.
in the paper. It's probably like a quarter-page ad in the paper. It's the 12th and the 26th. It's September 12th at 5:30 and September 26th at 5:30. So the public will have two opportunities, and so will you, if you want to do something different. In between time, we're going to have a meeting to consider the legal contract, so we'll know, we could give Stephen direction on that as well. So it should be corrected by September 12th, so we'll know what to do there. Anything else for the good of the cause? I will ask if there's anything that the public would like to add at this time. This is your public participation opportunity. If not, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Staring at you.
Mr. Fuller always says what he wants to
make
say
a motion that we
when he needs to
adjourn.
say it. I have
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I almost took it. I have a motion to second for adjournment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I made the motion.
Motion carries. We will adjourn at 8:35.